Second work session of the Penfield Planning Board. Allyn, please call the roll.
Hetzke.
Here.
Bastian.
Here.
Knauer.
Here.
Tidings.
Here.
Burgeon.
Here.
Nersinger.
Here.
Sangster.
Here.
O'Connor.
Here.
Weissar.
Here.
Okay, we have minutes that were sent out to us. Hopefully everyone's had an opportunity, I know even semi-short notice, to read them, but
Make that okay. Motion approved.
I'll second.
okay.
Hetzke.
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Burgeon.
Aye.
Knauer.
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
All right.
I thought you said Burgeon, not Burgeon.
She could have. He says aye too. He's good with it.
Okay, Mr. Burgeon.
Now we have split personalities.
All right, Zach, what do you want to cover first?
Did you go into the first table application?
Yeah, sure. We have no action on this, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, number one, there's no action on the first listed table application, I apologize. But we'll jump into item number 2, and I believe Mr. Burgeon will
Mr.
recuse
Burgeon will
himself.
be recusing himself.
Burgeon?
Get up. Sit down.
Gets his steps in.
All right.
So, item number 2 on the table applications list is for the ICC Community Center with a request for an expansion to their conditional use permit to allow for a new activities building in the upper parking lot. We had a public hearing on it last meeting on the 8th. Tabling resolution was sent out after that with the board's request for several pieces of information that the applicant has responded to. The primary comment from the board being in response to the testimony of the public at that meeting regarding noise complaints in the past for activities that occurred during the summer camp program at late hours of the night. There were several comments about that. The board responded to that and asked the applicant to provide a response about how they plan to, or how they currently do, conduct themselves, how the camp is conducted, and to use your words, AJ, how they intend to be a good neighbor to the surrounding area. So they provided that. They provided a summary of how the summer camp works. They've had a few of the responses, have a couple offers to the town. If the planning board would like to entertain that, that's a decision that's above the planning board. It goes to the town supervisor and town board, but something that could be considered. And I will open it to the board's conversation with that being said.
Anyone want to go first?
You're the lead.
I think that the offer for the town to hire a security team or firm that would be paid for by the applicant is a nice fair gesture, and I don't think that we should dismiss it out of hand.
Okay.
We should at least look into the possibility of that. That is a way that potentially could help alleviate some of the concerns that the neighbors have. Other things in terms of, you know, it's like a giant he said, she said thing. And one of the things that I wish that we had clarified during the public hearing was dates. Have the noises stopped? You know, what happened in 2017, what happened in 2016? And I neglected to ask those questions, and we probably should try to get that information. You know, were there issues in 2017, or were all the issues, all the noise issues back 3-4 years ago, and they have been mitigated? So I don't know if it's maybe you guys staff could draft a letter or something and send it out to the adjacent neighbors asking for some additional public input.
We could do that.
Maybe get it back by March 2nd, March 4th, something, you know, maybe 10 days time via email or letter, or, and say, maybe they can bring up some specific instances, times and dates and instances, or obviously, you know, somebody may not know, oh, on July 15th, 2017 at 10:53 p.m., you know, this happened, but some more detail than what we have had.
We can,
Yeah.
That's
So-
reasonable.
I think that's something that we can do as staff. We do have names and addresses of those who spoke. Do you want it to those who spoke, or to the immediate, like, kind of who we sent postcards to? I think
Why don't we do
people
it to people who we sent postcards to?
And if they're not included on the postcard list, which is probably a couple people who may be in Wayne
Oh,
County.
yeah, there was a lady that lived across the street.
Yeah, we could,
I'd like, you know, yeah,
okay.
send it her, and maybe a couple of her neighbors across the street, just to see.
Okay. We can arrange to have a letter sent out as quickly as possible, and pending the mail service, and the turnaround time, have something either mailed back to us or submitted electronically prior to the March 8th meeting, when the board will meet again.
And if anybody's watching right now,
Send it in.
feel free to not wait for a letter to come out.
Where do they send it? What's the email?
Planning
Since
and-
we are talking to the public, for the public, that would be to planning@penfield.org, or you could mail the letter to, I don't know who I'm watching here. Where am I? Brian, which way am I looking? Nope.
Look that way.
Look that way. Hi.
There you go.
You could mail it to the town hall, 3100 Atlantic Ave, attention to the planning department.
Perfect.
Do we have a date or an idea of when that striping was taking place? Was that post 15, do we know?
The part you're responding to is one of the, is regarding a public comment from one of the neighbors who expressed about activity or construction that may have been taking
Machinery
place.
noises,
Machinery
yes.
noises, thank you. During the night, the applicant in their responses did clarify that a private contractor was out there doing the striping to the parking lot at that time. Unfortunately, it was happening then. I don't know who was made aware at the ICC that was happening at that time, but I think they've addressed that to make sure that will never happen again. I don't know the specific date, but I know the applicant is, their agent's in the audience tonight if you want to ask for that specific information, if
Yeah,
it's available.
Curious, yeah, if we
You
could.
want me to ask?
Do you know what the date is?
I don't know the date that it was striped. I can get that information for you. The contractor had informed the ICC that they were going to do it that day, and erroneously we assumed that they were going to do it during the day.
Daylight hours.
Maybe they got delayed or rained out or something, I don't know.
What was it, 2017, 16, 15?
Oh, no, it was this past
Okay.
summer
2017.
of 17.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
that's,
September of 17.
Yeah, that's the more pertinent thing, the
Yeah.
exact date is
I was
not.
just looking for the year, yeah. Thank you.
It was not during the camping period.
Okay, okay.
But we should know, if you know the month, that might be good to know. Like, wait, if you get a complaint and it's, you know, you can pin it to that, then we know it's from that incident as opposed to camp.
Some other incident.
I will provide you with
Okay.
the date that occurred.
All right, thank you. All right, so do we, what other things do we need to cover with this? As far as the building goes and the site plan,
We did ask that last meeting, and it sounded like the board was there for it. They did provide the revised site plans to include all the necessary grading and stormwater. management, drainage, so on and so forth, with updated building elevations to match the shift of the building that was discussed during the public hearing. It helped minimize impacts to the steep slope area, to the wooded areas. It just meant a few more parking spaces would be eliminated from the northern parking area. And the board was there for it, so we do have those plans now as part of the record. And it seemed like there wasn't much more conversation about that on the board, on that side of this request.
No, as far as that goes, I have no issues. I don't know how, I think everybody else repeated that, felt the same way, right? So, I guess I'm gonna move to table pending further study about the offer for an outside security
Okay?
team.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how we go about investigating that.
It'll be a
but-
follow-up conversation that staff will have with the town supervisor, based on this meeting, and see what ideas he has about that, and ultimately would have to present that to the town board
Right.
during a workshop meeting there.
Yeah, and I don't know what, if any, nuances or other issues that brings up. You know, is it opening up some other Pandora's box that we don't want to open up,
Sure.
that's completely unrelated, that we're completely unaware of? I just don't know. But I think it's worth taking a look at.
Okay. Then we will have that follow-up conversation with the town supervisor.
Okay.
Please be advised that we are as interested in eliminating that he said, she said situation. If you have a brainstorm of a different way that we can monitor, document, substantiate, just record, we're receptive to. We would very much like to prove to you that the noise is not an issue.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Well, I think you'll get that when you get the responses from the letter.
Correct.
And we'll share those letters, whatever we receive, we
They'll
will
be
share
part of
those.
the public record.
We'll share those with you, Bob, so you have a copy of those.
And again, if you have some ideas on
Right.
how to make it quieter, please share them. We'd like to try to incorporate them.
I mean, one way to make it quieter would be make sure that they don't make noise after hours.
But the ICC has
counselors
never been
inside
cited
and-
for a code violation for noise.
There's complaints about it.
There's been complaints, but
Right, so.
It's true.
Trying to get to the bottom of,
we want to too.
So,
I'll second.
okay,
actually,
yes.
sorry.
No, it's moved and seconded. We can
Before
still
that, do you mind if
discuss
I
it.
ask the applicant a question?
Go ahead.
Bob, I know in a previous discussion, and correct me if I'm wrong, you had mentioned that ICC or your group had foiled the sheriff's department for any calls or complaints that had been received. Am I correct in that?
It was some time ago, and there was a complaint made by, a comment made by an adjacent neighbor that the sheriff's department had been called to the site. We foiled the sheriff's department to find out what that incident was, and it was related to the renting of the main hall building to a group that was not ICC members for a
Event.
party, a celebration with music kind of thing, that moved outside, and the sheriff was called. The sheriff told them to cease and desist, stop back a little bit later, there was still some noise, and basically shut it down. And since that time, the ICC does not rent that space to anyone other than members in the organization, and whenever that hall is being used, there is an ICC employee on site ensuring that it doesn't spill outside the building.
Do you recall when that was, at least a year?
It was several years ago, 3-4 years ago or more.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. right, sorry, I
Thanks.
wanted to ask that question.
No, that's a good question, good to know. That's the kind of information that we're seeking.
That was the only
Yeah.
sheriff incident at that location.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, anything else before we vote on the tabling motion?
So we had a first by AJ, second by Bill, I heard.
Yes.
Round we go.
Hetzke.
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Canower.
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
sure, thank you.
Moving on, our second tabled application is for the Blossom Road subdivision application. And Doug, if you pull up the site plan that was recently submitted, that would be perfect for the conversation. Okay. Updates, huh? So, just this week, we did receive the revised map that the board requested, showing how a home could be situated on lot 4, or identified as R2D, I believe on this. Zoom in. So, Doug zooming in, we see the pad. There we go. For a proposed house there. Important to note that this would not be considered an approved building lot. A formal site plan has not occurred for that home with regards to drainage, grading, utilities, so on and so forth. But the board did ask how a house could be situated or located on that parcel, on that lot, that complies with setbacks. They've shown that here with the appropriate front setback, with the appropriate rear setback, certainly sufficient side setback. So we do have this, and the other update is that the zoning board held a meeting on the 15th of this month where the applicant presented their area variance request, and the zoning board did grant all the requested area variances, which includes the lesser lot area for lots which shown on the map is R2A and R2B, as well as less lot width for those lots, being less than 100 feet. So the zoning board has granted the variances for those two lots as proposed on this map. And I'll open it up to the board's thoughts and opinions. We did provide completed EAF for this. Now that we have done the neg deck last meeting, this is a type 1 application where this board is the lead. And we've also provided a draft approval resolution template as well to go along with that EAF after learning of the zoning board's approvals.
So I looked over everything that was done, I have since 2 weeks ago, and the subsequent revised files. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't proceed with, unless
Right.
anybody else feels anything different about this. I think this is a good improvement. It rights some wrongs. I'd like to move that we approve the EAF.
I have one question. Being in a historic preservation district, is there a notation that's required in the deed, or how is that conveyed to future owners of the property?
Through the town approval process.
Excellent question.
Because the only thing that would be reviewed would be the deed, I believe, if it was to change
The
anything.
subdivision map, if it was on there with reference, they would look at that typically too.
Okay.
Or at least it would be in the abstract.
We can,
And the subdivision map then would state that situation.
if it's not on there now, we would amend it
Okay.
to include that, as well as kind of how I described, to emphasize that that's a proposed lot.
Right.
And
Not an approved zoning.
will require site plan approval at a later date. I'm sorry, Jim, I meant to say that earlier as a note that
no.
we would propose to add on the map to clarify that.
If you're
Yeah,
gonna
it
note,
was-
you might as well add that too, on
Mhm.
historic.
Okay. That was my
That's a
only
good point, thank you, Bob.
comment.
Does it work?
Yeah,
Somebody want a second?
I'll second.
So that's for the EAF.
For the EAF.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
So that being said, I would like to move to approve the resolution for the resale.
Application.
Okay.
Got a
I'll
second?
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Canower, or Burton, sorry.
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
All right.
We have one, let's see, the agenda showed one action item, and we also have one new business item. The action item for the evening is for the Penfield Place Nursing Home expansion that was originally approved in February of 2015, and the board has gone through several site plan approval extensions since then. However, their most recent one expired a number of weeks ago. And in response to that, they have submitted a letter requesting reapproval of the board's original site plan dated February 26th for the approval of 2015, which included all the improvements, expansions to the facility, no changes to that original approval.
So do you want to
This is the
move,
one where the CON got
They had to
kicked
reapply.
back and they,
I move to approve a 180-day extension. Is there a reason?
Well, we're doing a reapproval of this, so it would give them it's a site plan
Oh, it'd be a 1
reapproval.
year. Not an extension then.
Right, they have expressed that they're preparing to do site work, but we wanted to get a reapproval on this project, noting that it's all the same.
We can't extend it.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think
Improvements.
I was the chosen one on this one. The absentee, yeah, so, you know, make the motion for approval.
all right. You want a
I'll second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And one new business item, this is for Kidtopia. You may recall that last year, in October, the board approved this application. However, the requested area variances at that time were denied by the zoning board. The zoning board allowed the applicant to resubmit for a new area variance application, which held a new public hearing, for modified area variances. That included land bank parking on the north end of the, where'd that plan go? So we'll see it on the map here as kind of the three that's highlighted on the right. We're showing proposed land bank parking to comply with the zoning ordinance for the number of spaces required, so that allows them to meet that requirement. And they reduce the size of the building by 400 square feet from 10.5 down to 10.1. And they increased the front setback from PennWeb from 39.1 to 40.1. Zoning board again discussed this at their meeting on the 15th of this month and approved all the requested area variances, so now they're before the board for a site plan modification to reflect that. That's
Who
all I
was
got.
this?
Well, that I don't know off the top of my head. I
So-
think you were the lead on this one, Jim.
was. Yeah, I don't have any problems with this at all. We were just waiting for the ZBA to.
Yeah. Do you want to move
Yeah,
to,
I will move to approve.
I'll second.
moved and seconded?
By Burton and Bastian.
Yes.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
All right. That's done.
Thank you very much, everyone. That is all I have for this evening.
Great. So we want to,
Thank you, have a good evening.
Sure, thank
All
you.
that easy.
yeah,
We'll see you again, I'm sure.
Catch you next time.
take care.
Yes, cross-access is part of the...
Doggy.
All right, without anything left to do, I guess we can adjourn.
A second.
Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
This is up to, is it?
Time for a blue light.
I can't find it.
I have to go. I would love